Coming up, neighbors and city leaders at odds. The city of Fargo telling some pond front property owners to stay off their ponds.
The starting gates are ready to open again at another season of racing at the North Dakota Horse Park.
Plus, a lesson for pet owners who are looking for someone to foster their animal. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
A West Fargo family is without their home tonight after a fire. It happened earlier this evening at 5327 8th Street West. The fire started in a car in a garage, quickly spreading to the second and third floors of the home.
The fire chief tells us it took 25 firefighters from West Fargo and Fargo Fire to battle that blaze. The homeowner says everyone made it out of the building and they're now working with the Red Cross to find a place to stay.
We'll send crews in to get that kind of stuff. Pictures, important documents, any keepsakes, something like that before, if it isn't ruined in the initial stages of the fire.
While there appears to be significant damage to the front of the home, neighbors tell us the backside is more or less unscathed.
People in a South Fargo neighborhood are hoping to find common ground with the city of Fargo. Deer Creek residents living around a city-owned retention pond in the center of the neighborhood were told it's not for recreational use.
Tonight, many of those residents were able to voice their concerns to city officials. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor has this story.
This pond in the Deer Creek neighborhood is the center of a debate between homeowners and city leaders. Back in May, residents living on or near the pond were sent letters asking to limit recreation by removing all docks and electrical power cords from off the city-owned storm retention pond. City leaders say the pond was not intended for recreation, but residents say the pond is what attracted them to the neighborhood.
I'm an avid kayaker. I love to do it. I do it in the Red River a lot, not to mention other places. And to have that availability in my backyard, that was my go-to. I mean, obviously we love the house, but literally being able to wake up in the morning and go take my kayak out for a couple laps, that was a dream come true.
But city officials says that brings problems.
I guess the present policy is that we've had to try to limit for liability reasons or possible health concerns.
One thing city officials are worried about is E. coli. In testing from similar storm retention ponds, high levels of E. coli were found during the summer months. These types of ponds may also contain sewage, grease, and other contaminants, but residents say they are willing to relieve the city of any responsibility.
Quite honestly, I feel common ground is allowing us to use it for recreation. Our goal is to try to get people outdoors and out and about, and I think this is a perfect example of to do that. Make us aware of the issues that are there and have us take our own responsibility.
Fargo Parks Department officials now say they're willing to have conversations on taking steps to help encourage safe recreational use on the pond. In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
City engineers will share input from those residents with the city commission and the city attorney to determine the best way to minimize the city's liability. No word on how long that process might take.
Dozens of people say they've been enjoying some peace and quiet in their neighborhood since the liquor license was suspended a week ago at the Africa Nightclub in Fargo. Authorities say on any given week since the summer of 2019, when the Africa Nightclub opened, there'd be calls for fights, underage drinking, and disturbances outside the bar. Since the suspension of the liquor license, there has been 3 calls to the area of 4500 block on 45th Street South. 2 of them were bar checks.
I guess the whole consensus around the neighborhood, especially with me and, my neighbor, it's been going on for so long. It's definitely nice to have a change.
The suspension for the nightclub is set to end on August 30th, and there's still no explanation why the recently appointed general manager of the nightclub, Stephen Baird, no longer has any association with the club, just 6 days after assuming the role.
A Fargo man reached out to our Whistleblower Hotline. He says he's trying to get his dog back after temporarily fostering the animal with someone he met on social media. He adopted the dog from a woman on Fargo Moorhead Free Pets on Facebook. He says after bringing the dog home, he realized it wasn't a great fit. The plan was to return the dog, but that original owner couldn't pick up the dog immediately. So the man reached out on the same Facebook group searching for someone willing to take the dog in for 24 hours. He found someone, but now he says that woman cut off communication and hasn't returned the dog.
We want the dog to go back to her rightful owner. We want to make sure she's safe and taken care of. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she is being taken care of.
A report has been filed with Moorhead Police. The dog's name is Luna. She's a husky mix with light-colored eyes. You're being asked to call police if you see her. If you'd like us to investigate an issue in your community, call our Whistleblower Hotline. That's 701-237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
It's been 6 years since Job Service North Dakota posted more than 18,000 job openings. Back in 2015, there were nearly 19,000 openings in the midst of the oil boom. Hiring signs can be seen all throughout North Dakota now, but despite the displays of help wanted, employers are having a hard time getting people in the door. But as the recruitment of employees continues, job service officials say there may be a reason for the more than 18,000 online job openings.
I think it can just be attributed to our economy is starting to grow again. And we're seeing more and more businesses opening up, and the businesses that have been here over the last 5, 10, 15 years are again hiring.
Job service officials say over the last 6 years, they've been averaging about 14,000 openings per month.
Pfizer says it's working on a booster shot for its COVID vaccine amid reports the vaccine may be less effective over time. Pfizer's announcement comes after Israel reported a decrease in the vaccine's efficacy from more than 90% to about 64%. The country's health ministry blamed the drop in the growing threat of the highly transmissible Delta variant. They hope to begin studies of a new vaccine specifically targeted against that variant next month. More than 3 million Minnesotans have gotten their first dose of the COVID vaccine, but it's not easy for everyone.
Reporter Jennifer Hoff explains how the Autism Society of Minnesota is stepping in.
The Autism Society of Minnesota's St. Paul building will soon be transformed from office setting to sensory clinic, one of the first in the state to serve people with autism.
There's a little justice in bringing an event that is sort of designed specifically for disabled people because they deserve it.
The executive director says the group serves up to 14,000 families all across the state whose loved ones often have anxiety about unfamiliar experiences and changes in routine. Getting a shot can be especially upsetting.
Where I can wait my turn to get the vaccine.
Wilson partnered with the Multicultural Autism Action Network to create this video that walks people through that process.
It's really telling a story about what to expect.
Maren Christensen Hoffer's son was diagnosed when he was 3, and she teamed up with Fatima Molas to support other parents.
My job is to make sure that they understand what is at risk and what's at stake here.
Molas' son also has autism, and together they're providing the first of its kind clinic where nurses will come to you, whether in a private room or the parking lot.
There are so many people who say that the barrier is I can't sit in the waiting room or wait in the line.
They'll also administer 2 vaccines, Pfizer to anyone 12 and up, or the single-shot Johnson & Johnson to accommodate whether someone is capable of coming back. Interpreters will also be on hand.
Our goal is really that we don't want anyone to come unsuccessfully. People that come here, I think we will be able to find a way to make it happen.
Making vaccinations more equitable to help Minnesota continue to make progress in the pandemic.
You can head to the AUSM.org to get more information on the clinic and schedule an appointment.
Body cam video of the Louisville Metro Police shows a 6-year-old girl after she was kidnapped last week. The suspect had no relation to that child. Authorities say he admitted to taking the girl after he saw her playing outside. He said that as she cried, he realized what he was doing was wrong and took her back. Witnesses had already called police, who rescued the little girl.
A fire tornado was caught on camera while crews battled one of the wildfires blazing in Northern California. The Weather Service's office in Medford, Oregon said meteorologists noticed the rotation and shared a radar image as further proof of the incident. A surveillance camera captured footage of a tornado with a preliminary rating of EF1 as it tore through Jacksonville, Florida yesterday. That twister flipped recreational vehicles upside down and blew one of them into a lake.
Police in Haiti now have 6 men in custody for suspected involvement in the assassination of the country's president and wounding of the First Lady. 7 died in a gun battle with police. Authorities say they have the men who carried out the attack now. They're looking for the masterminds behind it. Haiti's acting prime minister asks citizens who are helping to look for those involved to hand suspects over to police, not kill them. He said the murdered president's wife and children expect justice.
It was off to the races in North Fargo tonight as the North Dakota Horse Park celebrated its 20th anniversary. A ribbon cutting was part of tonight's festivities, marking the 2021 racing season. The park will host 8 scheduled days of racing, and the park wants you to know they're open for business.
We get horsemen from South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska. It kind of brings them all together and it gives them a place to actually race near and dear to their hearts.
Tonight kicked off their official race season, was also business night at the races.
Still ahead tonight, we take you on an adventure to the lowest and oldest mine in Minnesota.
But first, are you ready for the weekend? Hutch returns with your Friday weather plan.